Howdy everyone, we're back to more for Final Fantasy X Part 2. I am of course the Black Shadow. It has been a little while since I last recorded for this series. As I noted at the end of the last video, I'll be spending some time getting into Chapter 5, building upon save files to deal with some of the end game and super boss content. And that is indeed what has been happening. I won't go into too much detail in regards to that right now, but I think I've spent like about 20 hours of my own time making sure everything is right. This also comes at this point where I found out there is one or two issues of things that I might have not done earlier in this game, some of which I have managed to rectify, some of which I can't quite, but we'll talk about that when we get there. But now, once you come into Chapter 5, this is where, obviously, a lot of the stories will come towards their conclusion. And, of course, if you are able to conclude and complete all of them, there is a special prize available for you. We'll talk about that when we get there. Also, just to let you know, this video is sponsored by Desk Fan. When the temperatures in your room start to come up to 30 degrees Celsius, trust in Desk Fan. Alright, should we get ourselves started? I think so. So, we saved at... Where did we save here? So this is the latest save file here. Save 34, some 64 hours played here. Not a lot of this has been actually physically doing this. There's been some stuff going off on screen. We'll talk about it as we go. But I believe we are at... this save here? I believe it's this one we're at. Yeah, this looks about right. Okay then, so, as far as the work that hasn't gone off screen, I'll quickly mention about it. I won't be showing much of it in this physical video, but the majority has been spent either at the Calmlands, going through and building up an absolute bucket ton of credits over there with the various games that are available to us. I've also spent a lot of time as well in the Fiend Arena, starting to get work going. It hasn't finished it entirely to unlock all of the various cups. There's one or two cups that are really tricky to get access to, and I'll do a video specifically talking about the Fiend Arena soon, but for the time being, we're not worried about that. At this point, of course, we can go to Brother, and we can say which of the holes that we want to jump in to go towards the end game. Should be noted, if you choose one of these, you are not committed to the end game. You can go in for a bit and then pull out, and in fact, as far as the Fiend Arena is concerned, you actually need to do that to make something happen, as well as some scenes, I believe, as well, that will happen only if you retreat after a while in here. We won't worry about any of that today. So, here's our hotspot list. It's pretty busy. So, you can take this chapter in any order, and you can do anything you want here, basically whatever order you so desire. I have worked out an order I'm going to be taking it. However, this is my public service warning to you. Don't do Zanakan Ruins last. As I mentioned, there is a special dress sphere that you can get hold of if you manage to get episode complete in every single one of these areas. There are 15 in total. What happens in all of them is that after you episode complete, the game will then teleport you back to the Celsius. And what happens is once you've done all 15, after that scene, you get access to the special dress sphere, the mascot dress sphere, which is possibly the best dress sphere in the entire game. However, for reasons that I don't know, and still exist in the HD version, when you get episode complete in Zanakan Ruins, you don't get taken back to the Celsius, and that means that if this is your last hotspot that you clear, you don't get access to the mascot dress sphere. So my advice, do it first. There's going to be a lot of talking today, so get comfy, kids.
It's finally quieted down, huh?
Well, I guess your memories are finally safe, Yuna.
Yeah. But I have to learn to be stronger. Even places full of memories. Even a place like this can't last forever. I need to accept that.
You want to not care.
That's not what I'm saying.
Just be yourself.
I guess. Yeah, you're right. Perhaps one day, I'll find something more precious. But until that day comes, I want to protect this place. The monkeys can't do it alone.
Do you see something?
Hmm?
Maybe.
So quite a few of these locations are going to be basically just going to them and just letting whatever happens, happens. We've done most of the work. There are some areas, however, that what happens will depend on your previous work in the story. But that's amazing. Also, by the way, while you're here, Maechen.
Ah, the Lady Yuna. Would you like to hear about Vegnagun?
Sure, for old time's sake.
Although Vegnagun was constructed during the Maechen War, there is no record of it ever being used. One could argue that the coming of Sin made war a secondary concern. But the real reason was that Vegnagun was nothing short of a titanic failure.
Oh?
You see, it was quick to respond to hostility, but lacked the ability to discern friend from foe.
Oh.
A weapon that slaughters indiscriminately would be far too dangerous for actual use in combat. Incidentally, this is why Vegnagun was never considered as a measure to combat sin. Instead, it was locked away under Bavel.
Jeez, Gramps, you really know a lot.
Where'd you learn all that?
That would be...
That would be...
well... this should explain things.
Ha!
Gramps, you're dead?
Mortifying, isn't it? Over the years, I managed to completely forget that I am unsent. It was only when I shook your hand, Lady Yuna, that I remembered.
At Mushroom Rock?
Why?
1,000 years ago, here in Xanarkand, I shook the hand of another young lady.
Mm-hmm.
1,000 years.
It was Len.
Correct. It was quite a strange feeling shaking your hand. Two different people from two distant times with exactly the same handshake.
You've met a lot of people, huh?
Yes, my child. Many meetings and just as many partings.
Mm.
The many people I have known have all journeyed to the far plane, leaving only me behind. 'Tis quite lonely.
Aww.
Gramps?
Hey, that's...
Father?
Do forgive me. My memories seem to have a mind of their own.
So people really are connected.
Ah, but of course.
Well, Maechen, thank you. I hope we meet again.
As do I.
So yeah, Maechen this whole time had been unsent. He died 1,000 years ago. And somehow neither him nor anyone that he happened to meet realized it. It's pretty scary. But yeah, that is more about Vegnagun. When it was constructed, it was unable to tell who was friend or foe, and can't use that in a war, but the problem was it had already been built and they couldn't deconstruct it, so they just consigned it to isolation under Bavel. There is one more thing I want to just address here before we move on. I don't believe the game talks about this very much, and this is slight spoilers potentially regarding Shuyin. So if you're not interested, feel free to skip to this sort of point in time on the screen. But there is one thing that Maechen obviously brought up previously, and this talks about the fact that Shuyin obviously looks incredibly like Tidus did. And Maechen did suggest that there is clearly more to that than just coincidence. I don't believe the game ever fully explains what causes this, and I'm not sure much additional material really talks about it either. I think it's left largely to interpretation. But I think the strongest theory that's going on about that, and I do apologize if this is brought up later in the game, I'm doing a bit early, but it's fine, is I believe the reason Shuyin looks a lot like Tidus is because, of course, Tidus technically isn't a real person. In Final Fantasy X, spoiler warning if you haven't played the game, by the way, Tidus is a denizen of Dream Zanarkand, which was being conducted via Sin, with Braska and Jets and all that sort of lovely stuff over here. The real Zanarkand, of course, had been destroyed 1,000 years prior in the war. But Tidus was a resident of the Dream Zanarkand, which was basically a mass creation of the faith at Mount Gagazet. Lord Zaon, I believe it was, basically conjured this massive dream world using what was left of the people there, turning them to faith to create this Dream Zanarkand so that all these people could kind of quote-unquote live on. This is how Jet, Tidus' father, got drawn from the dream world to Spira via Sin, and that's what Tidus did later on in the end. So it seems fairly reasonable to suggest that Tidus, it's not that Shuyin is based upon Tidus, it's actually probably the other way around, because Shuyin, of course, does exist, and did exist, and so Tidus' appearance is very possibly a Faith's reimagining of what Shuyin looked like 1,000 years prior. That's the best theory I've got, and I think it's the best theory out there. Again, I forget if the game talks about this very much at this point. If so, I apologize for getting ahead of time. You had your spoiler warning. But that's basically what's done here at Zanarkand. You can go ahead to get hold of a couple of items, but you can't go into Zanarkand Dome. Everything's been shut completely due to all the monkeys. They won. Now, if we go over to Buddy here, you'll now see that Zanarkand is marked as episode complete. And that means that you did everything correctly, and you've got 100% on the area, and that is awesome. Everything's good. This is where I need to talk about the fact that I don't have episode complete in everything. We need to go to the Moonflow. Let's go have a chat with Tobley, everyone, and see, looks like his concert's about to kick off here. Alright.
Unipalooza was a super smasherific success! But we mustn't let success go to our heads. No, no, no! We must succeed again once more! Well, do relax and enjoy it. The show, I mean.
Riku likes it. Sure, we'll watch the show. So you can look at it and the camera moves around and stuff. However, those that are eagle-eyed and have played this game before will know that this is not what's meant to happen. Now, I went back in a previous episode of this series to let you guys know that I messed up here. But I messed up in a way that I was unaware of. To get an episode complete here, you need to complete all of Toby's tasks prior. You need to complete them all perfectly. When we were selling tickets the first time, we didn't sell all 10. I sold, I think, 7 out of 10. I still got a mission complete. I still made like 4 grand, and I thought that that was enough. I was not aware at the time that I actually need to sell all 10 tickets. And the problem is that by the time I realized that, I had gone about 20 hours past that point. Now, there are one or two other things that I have admittedly missed over the course of this series. I have been able to get hold of a save editor, which has allowed me to correct the majority of things, but I couldn't find a way to rectify this situation, and there's not a lot I can do about it. I did miss one or two cutscenes over the course of the game. I'll talk about those in momentarily, but what's meant to happen is, rather than just watching the show, YRP is meant to be invited to join along, but as you can see, I can't do that.
Oh, how sensationally sensational! More or less.
And that's it. And all we get to do is, yeah, at the next show. Not this time. So that means, if we now go over to here, we go to board the airship, you will find that rather than getting episode complete, that we instead get hold of episode concluded, which is not good enough. So unfortunately, this does mean that I can't get episode complete on everything, and even with some rectifying of situations, I'm pretty sure that means that I can't actually get the mascot dress sphere via this, which isn't ideal. Now, it should be noted that getting mascot dress sphere requires, again, episode concluded on everywhere that is not Bevelle, by the way. Bevelle is the one place you do not have to get the full mission complete, because Bevelle has the game's crazy super dungeon. You kind of might want mascot dress sphere. You need to mission complete everywhere else. However, in the international version of the game, and thus the HD remaster, there is actually a second way to get hold of the mascot dress sphere. You can get it via the Fiend Arena, one of the final cups in the game that takes a lot of effort to unlock. If you win it, you can also get the mascot dress sphere from there. So it is still attainable. And if worse comes to worse, I can just save edit my way into getting the mascot dress sphere anyway. I find it ridiculous that you can get mission complete and still not get enough for mission concluded. I think that that is not a good design choice, and playing through this game, I've noticed there have been one or two design choices I've not been a fan of. A couple of them I've given the benefit of the doubt. I think this was a mistake, but regardless, that is my warning to you. That's why I went back and rectified that in there. Also, why I went and showed you the sphere that I missed from LeBlanc's chambers as well, to know that when Keenock, Maester of Yevon, before Seymour murdered him, was in charge of the Crimson Squad draft exercise. We'll learn more about that, don't you worry. So, Zanuck and Runes is done, Moonflow is quote-unquote done, so now we're going to start going through some other locations. We're going to start off at the Sade Island, where Wakka and Lulu have got a kid. Good on them.
Hey!
Hey there, man.
It's a boy! You wanna meet him?
Yeah.
Alright, let's go and have a look. Wakka seems definitely excited, and, you know, be fair, so he should. I'm coming. Hold on. Aww.
Ooh, Rakulida.
Look at his hands. They're so tiny.
What do you think? He's cute, yeah? Good thing he don't look like me.
Don't be silly. Look, he's got your mouth.
You think so?
What's his name?
I think the calm will end before Wakka makes up his mind.
Well, you better decide soon.
No rushing, yeah? Naming my son is my first important decision as a parent. Becoming a good father requires intense emotional preparation, yeah?
How long are you planning on preparing?
Until, my preparations are done, yeah?
Yeah, you know, good on them, you know. Of course, Lulu was originally a girlfriend of Wakka's brother, Chapu, before, of course, he died. I wonder if that's a bit awkward at times. That's fair. Oh, look at the little boy. The little thing he's got, he's in as well, that the little Moogle kind of head thing. It's adorable. Does indeed. Now, I don't know if the game, I can't recall if it tells you exactly, but we actually have some business to attend here on Besaid Island. Now, first thing I'm going to do is, before we actually leave here, is do you remember from Chapter 4 with all the Comsphere business? And do you remember how we saw there was like a bottle here and a dog took it and hid it over here? That little dog there? Well, you can come here and you can find, you just see it in the bush there. See it there? And that is the Black Law accessory. Now, we're going to start finding these over the course of Chapter 5, and these are very, very good accessories. I'll show you what these are. We think we've already got one anyways. Here we are, the Black Law. This, whoever you give it to, will allow you to use any black magic abilities learned as a black mage without having to be that class. There are a variety of different types of laws. We've got a Bushido one here, but there's also stuff for White Mage, Berserker, Warrior. There's probably another one or two out there I can't think of off the top of my head. These are also very expensive. You can, and I'll show you later on in the series, when we go back to Markalania and the travel agency with a Wakka, assuming you've done all that process, you can buy the various laws from him. They cost 50,000 gil a pop. That is not cheap by any stretch of imagination. That is a lot of money to have to come across. There are ways of getting that money a bit easier in this game, and especially if you have access to the Fiend Arena, there is a couple of fights specifically that are really good for grinding experience and also for grinding money. And that can help you with this, but still very, very pricey. Make sure to go ahead and grab hold of that. Very useful for someone like Riku, for example, to have access to like some of that magic, but not have to be a black mage if necessary. Now, before we leave here, as I said, we actually have some more business to do. No, someone was missing in the village there. And if I think if we talk to the civilians around, I think actually they'll tell us here. I'll entertain it. Also, by the way, what is in the Besaid shop now, by the way? I don't know. Hello. What you got for me here? You sell null-tide rings. Nothing too great. I've got a load of blue rings. Sold a load of those. Nothing too much, though. That's fine. But I believe, yeah, we can have a chat with some individuals around here, and I think one of them will tell us what we need to know. Possibly. Nah. He's getting a bit busy, you know. Now, do any of you talk about it? I feel like surely some of you do. You'd hope. I know who will talk about this. Where's the Besaid Oryx? Well, they weren't out the front. And they're also not here. We need to go to the beach. So, make our way down towards the beach here. And you'll find... Here's the Oryx. Fairy? What do you mean, fairy? Ah. Yeah. Someone's on a ride.
Has Wakka settled on a name for his kid?
No, not yet.
Never could make up his mind. I have something here. I'd like you to give it to him.
Oh?
It's a memory of a war buddy. I'd give it to him myself, but you understand.
I wonder who he's referring to.
aboard? We'll be setting sail shortly.
See, he gets it.
Yeah, Beclem is off to rejoin the Youth League. Uh-oh.
Sorry.
Beclem?
Whoa.
Well, he's dead. That is murder one.
Practice harder.
Good God.
Hey.
Next time we meet, let's blitz, yeah? Yeah. Show us that shot again sometime.
Slackers to the very end.
And off he goes. Now, that is something that's actually brought up on later in this game. As I've mentioned, there is actual Blitzball in Final Fantasy X-2 when you go into Lucca in Chapter 5 and get access to that. I'll be showing that off briefly. It won't be for a little while. But eventually, the Besaid Oryx do become a team that is playable in that, or that participate in that. And Beclem, actually, I believe, goes onto their team. Very nice touch. But we are done and dusted here. You'll be fine. Now, Beclem, of course, was previously in charge of the Gunner's Gauntlet. However, that now changes. Keeper will soon appear down here, and Datto will appear at the village entrance, and they'll basically take Beclem's spot with the Gunner's Gauntlet. So don't worry if you haven't completed that. Also stuff like going in here, finding your chests and stuff. All this stuff's respawned. I'm not going to show any of this off. It's not necessary. One thing I will show off, however, is there's a secret here. Did you see it? I bet you didn't. Might have done. I don't know if you could have done this sooner, but on these bridges here, if there is one chest I would suggest you to get hold of, there's a very special one, and it is down here. Yeah. You can actually do this. It's pretty naughty. And if you come down here carefully, you got a chest hiding down the bottom. This is the key item. Twilight Rain. I believe all of these are only accessible in the 5th chapter. I could be wrong. Very important item this as well. If we go on down here, Twilight Rain enables Floral Fallow to learn Break Damage Limit. There are 6 key items that will, between them, enable the 3 special dress spheres to break the damage limit of 9999 damage, and also break HP limit of 9999 health. They are dotted about the map. I will try and I will get hold of all of them, and hopefully I remember to show you some of those where they are. Some are a little bit tricky to get hold of, however, and that is going to be a little bit challenging, but we'll work on it. But do keep a note that those are now hiding around the map for you to find. Some of them are in some real wretched spots, but they are now available to you. Hey, Wakka!
What's the matter?
I thought I'd go say goodbye to Beclem.
He's already gone.
Oh.
He gave me this sphere.
For me? Hey, let's see.
Yeah, Beclem was former Youth League. He's also an ex-Crusader. Which means...
Hey, Wakka. Remember that time? Nah, you probably forgot. Something I told you back when we were kids, yeah? There's a sphere on the island, I said. Showing Mom and Dad. I lied. Truth is, there's no such sphere. I'm sorry. Back then, you'd lecture me no matter what I did. Someone has to keep you in line, yeah? I guess I was kinda bitter. That's why I made up that story about the sphere.
If you got time to take pictures, you got time to pray. Especially since you're joining the Crusaders.
Enough with the preaching.
Someone has to keep you in line with our parents not around.
Knock it off with the surrogate parent thing and give us both a break. I just need you to be my brother.
And of course, he went off and died.
His brother, yeah. I don't know why he just couldn't come out and say it. Anyways, you guys stay in the village till nightfall at least, yeah?
Mm-hmm. I mean, if you say so. One thing I have been doing, and I'm glad I've been doing in the midst of my off-screen work, is I've been watching back through the various cutscenes for Final Fantasy X to kind of remind myself of some of the story beats a little bit, refresh it. Also because Auron's just like the absolute greatest. But yeah, remind me of stuff like with Chapu and like you know his relationship with like the people here. Notable. Here is Datto, by the way, who again will run the Gunner's Gauntlet. I did max this out to level 10 in my save I'm working on, so I have got a piece of adamantite. Very, very cool piece of equipment. So we want to make our way back to the village for nightfall.
That night, Wakka gathered everyone in the village around the fire.
Well, you probably know why I called you all here, huh? I'd like to introduce the newest member of Besaid Village.
Oh, we already met him.
Say, you picked a name yet?
Don't tell me this is a brainstorming session.
Like I do something like that.
No, never.
I chose a name. His name is Vedina. Everybody, take good care of him, yeah?
Yeah! Oh, yeah!
Congrats.
I always try to cram myself into some kind of mold, you know? A blitzer, or a guardian, or a follower of Yevon, and now a father. I always get so wound up about what I should be. But you know, in the end, I'm just me. Anyway, I can't keep coming up with new Wakkas all the time, eh? So it looks like I'll just have to start doing things my way.
One of the really coolest parts about it that I never knew the first time I played this game is Vedina is actually Albed for future. Which is a really, really touching point. Again, going back to the first game and, you know, Wakka being very heavily Yevon and, you know, a lot of that game, you know, like real almost xenophobic of the Albed and obviously Riku and such. So to name his child an Albed name, you know, and kind of like signifying that he's at peace with that, I think it's a really, really nice touch.
That's the way I'll write our story.
Hang in there, Dad.
Sin was nothing compared to diaper changing, huh? Hey, sorry it took me so long to decide on a name, Lou.
It's all right. I knew it would be worth the wait. I had faith.
You had faith in me?
Wakka, we're in this together. Whether you see it or not, I really do rely on you.
Guess I'd better not drop the ball, yeah?
You won't.
They're in their own little world.
Come on.
Let's not bother them.
Just like 2 years ago, eh? A little side note, by the way. If you don't succeed in all of the stuff to do in Besaid, I'm fairly sure Vidina never actually gets their name. And is just left nameless. So that is what you get for, you know, doing all of the good stuff. But yeah, really nice touching scene there. Really appreciate that. Alright then, where do we want to go next? Let's head on down to Kilika Island next. This should be probably fairly sufficient. Yes, the trouble is settling down. But now looks like other trouble's brewing. Uh-oh. Can't we all just be friends? Probably not. There are chests all over the place. These have all been restocked. I'm not going to get any of these. I don't need to. But there's lots of good stuff in these. Money, some nice items for you, tonics and the like. Hey! Yeah, remember that they've been sending balloons to and fro the temple? Really nice. No fair! I'll get over it. That's still open? Oh, still there, I should say? Damn. Gosh damn balloons. Dear. Alright then, so now we're in okay, everything's fine. I messed that up there. So now we're in chapter 5, by the way. You got the lady over there. This is for the monkey side quest in Kilika Forest. As I've noted previously, you can do it as early as chapter 1 and get the reward for it in chapter 3. However, you can still do it in chapter 5. I don't know if I've actually talked to her yet to do it or not. Let me just double check here. But yeah, there is a garment grid for your trouble if you're going to do this little side quest. It is super obnoxious to do in the first one because, of course, a lot of the map is like blocked off and it's like really awkward. You know, the garment grid's okay, I guess. Yeah, so shout out to get defined squatter monkeys. There are 13 in total in the village, and I'll be looking to show off how to get all of those in a moment.
Let me go to the temple. I want to see my sister.
This road is closed. I can't let you through.
What's wrong with wanting to see our families?
Yeah! But without orders, I can't let you pass.
My.
Donna.
Some boys don't know how to behave. Haven't you noticed you're the only ones still nitpicking over party politics? New Yemen this, youth league that. It's called a complex. Get over it. Aren't you listening to the song?
Yeah.
Now let them through.
But without the order...
I just gave you an order.
Right away.
Open it! Sis, I'm coming! Let's check it out.
Long overdue. That guy is probably more... Look at his face, what you can see of it. Man, that man is terrified. He's like, okay, you win.
Songs are powerful.
I guess everyone felt it.
What you felt?
No, not me. Len.
Okay, so let's resolve a couple of bits of business before we do what we need to do. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and find these Scott monkeys. Now, there are 13 locations dotted around the woods, which you need to go investigating. And once you do, and you go back to the lady in blue, you'll be able to get hold of the garment grid. Now, I could try and sort of show you them, and I will do it all on screen here, but I would like to refer you to this picture I'm about to put up here. This is courtesy of FF Exodus, which will detail all the locations. Now, you won't actually see the monkey on the map here. You've got to go to the spot and then press A and around the area in order to interact with it. And then the Scott monkey will turn up like that. And we've got to do it in all 13 spots. As I've noted, doing it now, the fact that we have dealt with the whole situation here and we don't have to worry with any of the fences and stuff here, it's just like, this is so much easier to do. You know, where is it? Down here, I think? It's usually by a tree or something like that. Usually, if you're looking somewhere, look around a tree or something distinguishable, and that typically is roughly what you're trying to look for. A couple of locations on the left here as well. One before the bend. It's number 5. You don't have to. You can do this in any order, by the way. There is no order in order to find these monkeys. One just before going across the log bridge over here for 6. But yeah, I could have done this chapter 1. You can do it now. It's fine. Just do it now, kids. It's just the way forward. So one down over here. You've got one down this before you turn the corner here. That is 8. And then the last 5 are on the top half of the map here. So if we go up this little intersection, somewhere over here by this tree, there we are, number 9. Up this main pathway here, so this is where we were spying on the New Yevon guards. And about the same spot, a monkey over there for 10. Number 11 is in this little corner clearing area here. Oh, you can actually hear them. Interesting. I didn't know that. If you stand in the area where they are, you can actually hear them. Ah, there's kind of a clue there. I didn't know that. There you go. I just jammed the button. And the 13th one is kind of craftily hidden. It's over here-ish. Here we are. In between these two trees. I say it's kind of crafty. You've got this tree here, by the way, that you can now actually jump up in Chapter 5. And if you do that, that will take you up to this ledge over here. This is the ledge overlooking Kilika village. And there's a chest up here. And this contains an arcane lore. Now, the arcane lore is very awesome. This allows you to do Dark Knight abilities from the Arcana section. Very useful for someone like, say, Pain, for example. Although I might have her as a Dark Knight a lot and do warrior stuff with the warrior lore, or whatever it's called. But that is a very, very nice piece of equipment. And again, they're 50 grand each to buy. They're also very effective for using in the Fiend Arena. You can give these laws to, like, your enemies with you, and they can use stuff like Holy, Flare, Darkness, like, all sorts of crazy stuff. Shinsanzetsu from the Bushido, that's, like, basically just kills everything. A lot of very, very cool stuff. Anyway, so that done. We can now go and head back to the woman in blue. Sure, give me a ride down, please. And we'll get our reward. Here we are. And we have found all 13. So many monkeys. And for that, we get hold of the Chaos Maelstrom Garment Grid. I'll show it off. I thought this was like the 15 strength magic one. It is not that one. I do know where you get hold of that. Chaos Maelstrom is down here. That is the Dark Knight Arcana dress guards. So we've got Bushido, we've got Swordplay. Now we have Arcana as well as Black Magic. Pretty useful. May give this to Pain. Might also give this to Pain. I am undecided at this point in my main save. There are some decent garment grids around. There are a couple of garment grids that are like kind of busted. But to be fair, you have to go through some serious effort to get them. Now, before we make our way over to the temple here at Kilika, which is what we need to do to actually complete the episode, there is one other thing for us to do. And let's just go and talk about this. So we can head over here, and there's something you've been able to do on our various trips back to Kilika Village, is you can go over here, and you can speak to these guys. And these guys will show you, the Youth League headquarters, the base that they're putting up here. Yeah, let's go have a look. You can look at this over the course of chapters 1, 3, and 5, I believe it is. And they'll give you an update on the progress on this base. Now, if you speak to this guy every chapter, when you can, he will give you the option to actually boat your way over there. And there is a special treasure chest over there with a really, really cool piece of equipment. However, you'll notice that I also didn't achieve this, I don't think, on this version of the save either. I think I missed talking to him in Chapter 3, which is a little bit unfortunate. However, I was able to rectify this over a save editor. I was able to change a couple of flags here and there. And so I do have a save where I do have access to talk with him all the time. And your reward for doing that and flying over there, basically the guy on the boat will give you a ride there, is they will give you, I believe it's the Invincible accessory, which is a gold piece of equipment, basically allowing you to break the damage limit, which is pretty cool, although truth be told, when I used to play this game, I never really found myself, like, often breaking the damage limit outside of, like, special dress tier stuff, in which case, like, those could get break damage limits anyways. So it's a cool piece of equipment to get hold of. I can't show you the scene on this save, but I have got it in a different one, but that is a reward you get for that. You know, it's pretty neat to have. It's not a disaster if you don't get it. You know, there are a couple of other really, really important pieces of accessories I would suggest getting hold of, but that's how you get hold of one of those. Yeah, and it's not even like talking to this guy. It's the guy on the camera who says, hey, do you want to go out there? And that's how you get hold of that. Regardless, what we are here to do is to make our way towards Kilika Temple and follow the people going to, you know, reunite with their families that have been separated because of all this political warfare that's been going on. Hey, Martello!
Daughter!
Oh boy.
Well, it seems to me you have forgotten who it is you are supposed to be guarding. I ought to fire you for just up and leaving me the way you did. Don't interrupt. I've been practicing these lines for days, so be quiet and let me finish.
Donna, please forgive me. I'll apologize as much as you want. Don't say I can't be your guardian anymore. I'll never leave your side again.
That's so sweet.
Shut up. Ugh, you're making such a scene. How humiliating. Don't think that you're off the hook for embarrassing me like this. You'll be making this up to me for the rest of your life.
Damn.
Donna!
Bartello, we're leaving.
Oh.
Some things never change.
It's so pretty.
Hey, what's with all the balloons? A Gullwings welcome bash? Party!
Trade gamma trasut.
Some things never change. And he held on the tricks of the trade garment grid, which is actually a pretty decent garment grid, all things considered. I'll go and show this off here quickly. It's down here a little bit. Here we are. Tricks of the trade. This gives you the opportunity to hasten abilities for both black, white, and dark knight abilities, and hasten the time slot, which is pretty solid. It's also really useful for any creatures you've got with the creature creator system. It will allow them to learn quick flare, which is very, very strong, very powerful piece of magic that. So a very solid garment grid that. You can also, and I would definitely suggest, heading up to the back up to the temple afterwards, because you can now go into the temple. There are chests all over the place there with ethers and like mega potions. I think there's a mega elixir up there somewhere, which is really cool. If you didn't get the samurai dress sphere back in a previous chapter, you can still go up there and get hold of that as well. There's magic increasing stuff. There's a lot of cool accessories up there, so I would thoroughly recommend doing so.